Ms. Dane?
Yes, ma'am.
Call the budget meeting to order. Do we have any citizens communication, Ms. Dane?
No, ma'am.
All right, no citizens communication. So, we're missing one person, right?
I have not heard from Commissioner Smith.
Okay. I think Phoebe is gonna present each of the budgets, but if anyone has a question, if they'll come up to the podium, we'd appreciate it. So,
Yes.
our first one is solid waste management.
Madam Chair, if you would not mind, can we move the elected officials up to the front so they may leave and don't have to sit through the rest of them?
Okay.
That would include the Register of Deeds, the trustee, property assessor, the county clerk, and the election commission. If we can move those to the front.
You probably want to call the 5-digit department code
Okay.
because that's what is easy for them to see on the right-hand corner.
That makes it, so we're looking at 51600, 52400, Five to 300.
All right, you go.
No, you're good. 5 to 500.
There's 5.
And 51500.
500.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the order you're gonna do them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And my folders are in order, so if that's okay.
Mr. Whitby?
Yes, you're past 51600,
Jeff Whitby have a question.
52400,
3.
52300,
There we go.
52500. And election is 51500.
Mr. Whitby?
I wanted to ask if, Phoebe, do you mind, doing 51220 as well, which is the beer board that I do?
Oh,
If not,
yes.
I'm happy to.
No, there's no reason for you to say.
So 51220 is the beer board.
1, if I'm not. Good, thank you.
I think I got everybody. Right. Yeah.
Yes,
3,
yes.
4,
Yes.
Column
So
down.
3, 4, and 5.
51220. Do you want to start, do you want me to say each one, or do you want to announce them?
And just go and you tell me the
Okay.
motion.
All right, Phoebe. And after she announces it, if I could get a motion and a second, please, after her announcement.
First budget to present this evening is the Register of Deeds. Total budget of $885,422.
Move to approve.
The in total increase between last year's original budget and this year's budget is proposed is $44,668. This is all salary, so this is no change other than the salary increase, which includes the 4% and the 65th percentile study.
Does anyone have any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
And just to make sure I heard that correctly, Commissioner Guthrie moved and seconded by Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're gonna hear that a lot.
That's fine, I just didn't want to.
David's gonna be quiet as usual. Yeah. We're gonna. Next.
The next budget is for the trustee's office, and this is for Department 52400. Total budget of $1,110,718.
Move to approve.
Second. So this is an increase over last year's budget of $28,640. This is a no change, no increase budget other than the salaries. That is 100% the salary adjustment.
Does anyone have any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
The next budget this evening is Department 52300 for the Property Assessor's Office. Total budget of $2,659,379.
Move to approve.
Second.
The total increase is $62,992. This is a little bit of unusual because the raise increase was actually $81,000. However, there is a decrease in the operations budget of $18,634. There's a lot of, this is because of a lot of postage and one-time cost associated with this year's reappraisal that obviously we don't need next year, so there's a reduction in the operations.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do. Madam Chair. So when I'm looking at the actuals, it looks like there's a big bump between what the actuals and then the revised budget. Are we still on target to, is this kind of the increase you were talking about?
So these are last year actuals, these are
Right.
not current year.
Right.
So these are those, the first line is actually what we spent in 2024. So that is not what we're spending today. And then the current year original is what we approved July or June 30 of last year. And then your next column, your current revised budget includes any amendments, any resolutions, anything like that. So if we had to do a resolution or pull from a reserve or anything, then that's actually going to increase. Is there one particular that was going
No,
on?
I was just looking at the overall, just trying to see the actuals, like how we're tracking on the actuals, like this year, because when you look at like the 2024 actual, 2020, I guess it's 2024 actual, now it's like a 30% increase. I'm doing my math in my head correctly. So I was just wondering the big difference between the actual spend, and I didn't know what the actual spend was looking like for this year. If it's gonna be close to that 2.5.
It is, it's closer to the original, just because we had a lot of extra costs, especially for in this budget,
Assessment.
for the assessment.
Okay, that's what I was asking, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Any more questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Next budget this evening is for Department 52500. This is for the county clerk's office for a total of $1,653,780.
Can I get a motion?
Sorry, move to approve.
Second.
Forgot my spot.
The total increase for this budget over the current year is $58,047. And this is a no change budget. That increase is due completely, solely for the salaries.
Does anyone have any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Your board.
So the next budget, 51,220 for the beer board. This is a total budget of $2,700.
Move to approve.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Next budget is for Department 51500, the Election Commission, for a total of $1,419,856.
Move to approve.
Second.
The total increase in the budget this year is $36,097. Again, there is no change in operations. This is a 100% increase due to the salary adjustment.
Does anyone have any questions?
Just a comment. you will see an increase in the elections budget later on because of President Trump's mandate. So that's about 20,000. So you'll see some of that. But that will come
As an
up,
amendment.
that will come up as a resolution on the floor, or we'll make the adjustment and give you that before you vote on it in June or July, whenever we look at June.
What mandate?
Mr. Chairman and members, Chad Gray, Administrator of Elections. Our chairman, Election Commission Chairman Jonathan Duda couldn't be here this afternoon, but on or around March 25th, President Trump issued a number of executive orders relative to elections. And this is all still being sorted out by the Secretary of State, but it may require us to have more funding for various things than we had anticipated. And we may also additionally need to upgrade some firmware that's currently being used by us through our voting machine vendor.
Does anyone have any questions? Chad?
Thank you.
Are y'all ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Okay, we will go back to our regular schedule, our regular order. The first one being the Solid Waste Sanitation Fund, Fund 116.
Can I get a motion?
I'm sorry, move to approve. Out of order
Let me
here.
give you the number. Oh, sorry, I'm getting to the back page. My apologies. It's on the back page. Total budget of $10,474,451.
Move to approve.
The increase includes the raise amount. Total increase due to raise is $119,806. There was also an additional $156,000 due to some added electricity. If you will look on page 4. So on page 4, if you will look at the electricity line item, 541500, you can see there's an additional charge this year, an increase of the $156,000. This is an estimation that we will be incurring a $13,000 per month electricity bill for the biomister to go live. And that will be happening this year. We'll have to ask the gentleman over there if you want more information about the biomister.
I think we talked about it at a
We did.
recent meeting.
We did.
Mhm.
The budget does include a few numbers and lines. There was some transfers in between the budget to absorb additional cost. You will also note on page 6, for other charges, you will see that right now there will be a difference. You can see a 292.6% increase in your building and contents insurance. So we found when we went to pay those insurance premiums this fiscal year that the number had been switched between building and contents and the excess risk. And so we came to you July, August, and asked for a transfer between those line items. So you will see that $262,000 increase is offset by the same amount of $52,000 in the line right below it. And that's just to get that number in its right line for payment. We'll also note that there is zeros listed there. We have not finalized what those numbers will be for our excess risk and our liability. We will be presenting those totals on April the 22nd. Our risk management director will have those ready and available for us. So there may be some additional costs that we will have to come back and present a revised number for that budget just to include those. And that second hearing, we will hear any additionals on May the 5th. But there is, right now, it was showing a 0% change because we do not have those finalized numbers.
I guess I have the question for Mac. So we're spending $156,000 more for electricity. Are we saving anywhere due to that?
Currently, Phoebe and I worked on it, we changed it just a little bit. We were budgeted for $700,000 a year to pump and haul, dispose of leachate. So we purchased a piece of equipment and have it installed, waiting on we get the electrical and plumbing hooked up to it. So that's roughly $250,000 total to buy that. And once we get it up and running, it has misters around a tube and it's blowing air, fast air through the tube, and there's misters blowing into that air, so it's gonna atomize the leachate and blow it up into the air. We've built an area for it to land in if it doesn't get evaporated. If this machine works like they say it's gonna work, we're gonna run out of leachate before the year's over. And instead of paying $700,000, and Phoebe and I refigured it's gonna be at least $500,000 now, but we'll have a $13,000 a month electric bill, and then the maintenance on this piece of equipment, so we're gonna save a lot of money.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now, that's gonna work on part of the landfill. The new tank's not attached to that yet. But Tommy and I were talking about that this week. We figured out a way to attach it and make it work.
That's good.
Thank you.
Has anybody got any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
The next budget this evening is for the Solid Waste Board, Department 51240. Total budget of $3,300.
Move to approve.
Second.
This is a 0% change.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Next budget this evening is for the County Commission. This is Department 51100. There is an additional amount that has been added to this budget over last year. Oh, sorry, you need the number. My apologies. The total budget is $1,777,065.
Move to approve.
Second.
And I'll try that again. Total increase of $14,400. This is a brand new line. You will see on page 1, there is a new added line for salary supplements. This is resolution that was passed back in September for you as commissioners to receive annual training. And if you do complete 8 hours of continuing education, you are qualified for a supplement of $600 per member. And that is what is here. It is budgeted for each of you to have $600 if you complete continuing education.
Does anyone have any questions?
Just one quick question on the tax relief program. Are we anticipating, because I see it's like 920,000, are we anticipating more people paying for that? Do you think there might be?
So the tax relief program, we do not have the final numbers at this point. We increased our budget last year, not this fiscal year, previous fiscal year, by $250,000. And this was because the state had reduced its funding. We offset and we mirror the state's program. Because they reduced it, we picked up that extra $250,000. Just a reminder, this program provides relief for disabled veterans, their widows and widowers of disabled veterans. Right now, I usually get with Karen at the end of probably May, you'll see a resolution. So if it goes up, and then you see a resolution in June, then you'll know that it's yes or no. We'll answer your question, yes.
Yeah.
But we are hitting right at around 900,000.
Mayor Anderson?
So, last year during the budget process, I introduced, and I'll introduce it again tonight, it passed last year 5-0 to increase the county commission pay from $650 to $750 for the chair, and from $600 per member to $700 per member. beginning on September the 1st, 2026. You're not increasing your salary during your term. This is at the next term. So I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Does anyone want to second it?
I'll second it.
Do you want a discussion on it? Commissioner Smith?
the last time that the county commissioners got it?
It's been several years ago because we never do it during your term, so I suspect it's been 4 plus 5 years. It's been at least one full term that we do it. And nobody ever votes to give their self a pay raise, rightfully so. This is at the next term, whoever wins.
Do you have any numbers on what most counties pay theirs?
We're not on the higher echelon of it. We can get you that, but they're all over the board across this state, including health insurance, some mileage, some computers. I mean, it's all over the board, Madam Chairman, but I'll be glad to get you some comparison. That's in the, if Claire doesn't have it, we can get that information from Tennessee County Services Association. Get it to
Be
you.
happy to research that stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, it doesn't Metro pay like,
Well, Metro's a different
thing,
form of
there's just like
government.
20 or
yeah.
30,000 or something.
But most counties are gonna be in the range we are.
Okay.
Well, I know none of us get into this, for the pay, certainly, and, but I also know that, you know, all of us sitting up here, we do, you know, spend time away from our families and away from some of us are professions and some of us are hobbies. So, you know, knowing that this is to go into effect for whomever, is in the seat after the upcoming election, I'm happy to consider it.
I guess where I'm at right now is just probably wanting to wait until Claire gets us more information and see how we look comparable to
I'm okay with that
other
too.
counties.
Yeah, so can we,
You can do anything you want. I'm telling you, this is what I do. This
Every
is
4 years.
Every 4 years.
Right.
But I do it every year, so they'll be sure to get it.
Yep.
And if you all want to postpone it, we'll get that information for you and have it probably by next week. That's not hard to get.
can we get someone like to make a motion
Move to
to
defer.
defer?
I can't do it though, because I seconded it.
Yeah. I'll just take it off the docket and get it to you, bring it next week.
We'll withdraw it.
Okay, thank you.
But you can vote on the budget and we can add it back in.
Yeah, I'd like to see the numbers of the other counties too.
I'd just like to make a comment for the people that are watching this. I had someone that looks at these budgets every year and they told somebody that each county commissioner made $172,292 a year. And I was like, well, they haven't been giving that to me. That's total for all 24, I believe, is what that is.
Nice, right?
All right, I guess
You gotta get the budget.
Yeah,
approved.
we're
We got a
ready.
motion second on that. I was interjecting this.
the county commission budget of $1,777,065. Are we ready to vote now? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against, passes 5-0.
The next budget is Board of Equalization, Department 51210, and this is for $7,700.
Second. Thank you.
The 0% change.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Anybody against, passes 5-0.
The next budget is for the Mayor's Department. Total budget of $1,156,067.
Move to approve.
Second?
There is a total increase to salaries of $110,443. Total increase includes the salaries and a small adjustment of $3,400 to our lobbying services.
Does anyone have any questions?
Quick question, the retirement succession planning, the bump there, how does that work?
So we are experiencing a transition within the next fiscal year, and that will cover the salary of 2 individuals to be in a position for a long-term team member who will be retiring.
Any more questions?
And that is just to allow us to have someone there for training purposes and for a smooth transition.
Multiple people.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Our next department this evening is for our Human Resource Department. Total budget of $478,220.
Move to approve.
Second.
The total salary increase was $39,070. Other than that, there was a small increase to advertising and office supplies for a total of $2,200. That was the only increase in this budget.
Any questions?
Just another quick question on the actual versus the current original budget. Did we add staff this last year? Is that what I received? Or how are we tracking on the actual for this year?
So we do have classification. There is an adjustment, a larger increase in the assistant line rather than the part-time. We did some classification of personnel. And so that's why those monies you can see, there is the increase is 17.8% to assistants, but there is a reduction of 14 in the part-time. So that's just a reclassification of personnel. And the director is right here next to me. She'd be happy to address anything.
No, that was just it. I mean, I know we have like the actuals is actually spent, there's a delay here, right? Because we don't have our actuals for this year.
Exactly.
So I was just trying to understand what the actuals look like for this year.
I'd be happy to add to that. We shifted some of our funds from our part-time line, to retiree, so those salaries went down. We reclassified, moving from a coordinator mentality with no FMLA administration to move it into a generalist level so that we have actual FMLA administration now. So now we have 2 generalists residing rather than a lower level coordinator that's basically just doing transactional work rather than managing the law, if you will. Upgraded but not spending.
Okay.
Thank you for the question, though.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
The next budget before you this evening is for our county attorney, Department 51400, for a total of $1,216,500.
Move to approve.
Second.
Madam Chairman, we do need to get the hourly rate by TCA code. The hourly rate for the legal team is $250 per hour. We have to have that notified, so you'll need a motion on that also.
It's $250 for partners, $215 for associates.
Can we get a motion on that?
Motion.
Second.
So you'll have to vote on the motion back to the full budget, and then you'll have to vote as ratified.
Okay, has anyone got any questions on the amount? If not, let's vote on that. Everybody for it, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes on the amount per hour.
And now your total budget.
And now, Phoebe, the total.
Yes, total budget is $1,216,500, and this is 0% change.
We already have a motion.
Mm-hmm.
And a second.
Does anybody have any questions? I have a question. Usually the school board uses their own attorney. Are y'all going to the school board meetings now?
The cook is, yes.
Is there a reason they're not using their? I mean, how many hours are we talking about, do you think?
I don't know. I know that he works more on the board meeting itself and not the day-to-day.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they wanted somebody with more parliamentary procedure experience to assist with that process. I know he works on some of the other processes such as textbook procedures and such, but I couldn't even guess what the hours are. I'll get that for you if you want me to.
So in this amount is,
No, that's schools.
is,
They pay for it.
okay, so it's in a it's under their budget, it's not included in this one, okay.
Now, I believe bond counsel and other counsel is included in
Yes,
that.
yes.
This is not all to us.
Okay.
Some of this goes to Christie. Ransom,
She's
some of
in
it
here
goes
too.
to bond counsel. There are a number of fees that are included in this budget.
This is an extremely good rate.
Huh?
This is an extremely good rate.
Thank you.
I wanted to mention that as well. I was surprised that it's on the very low end of the legal. It sounds like a lot of money to some people, but that on the low end, it's a bargain.
We appreciate it.
Has anybody got any questions? All I know is we have some wonderful attorneys with some great knowledge, and I'm proud that we get them at this rate. Ready to vote? Or do you have a question?
Just real quick question. So the TCA code, does that limit how much the county?
I'm sorry.
Is that the TCA code motion that we passed, does that limit how much?
No, see, the code says you have to give the hourly amount.
Okay,
It doesn't limit you on how much you could pay. It's just you have to disclose the hourly rate. And so, Jeff's firm or the firm and Christie and the firm, they're all at the same rate. And then, of course, in Jeff's case, you can see the clerk's time and all of that, but you have to publish that hourly rate.
okay.
So all the commissioners need to remember that when they're calling for all these random questions. Keep it short, keep it short.
Well,
I know.
I read the letter and they're not necessarily even charging us for that time either, so.
Correct.
Even at that lower rate, so I appreciate that.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Now, Madam Chairman, don't forget you've got to get, you had an amendment. And now
We
you're-
voted on that. Yeah, we voted on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the whole.
Next budget is for our planning and zoning department. This is Department 51710. Total budget, $4,057,858.
Move to approve.
As you can see through the page 2 and 3, there are some changes here and there, some drops and some adds. They have been able to absorb their cost within other line items. So the only increase to the budget is 100% for the increase due to salaries. Everything else has been absorbed within the existing operating budgets.
Does anyone have any questions? This is a department I think I get to visit every week, it seems like. Really nice guys, very helpful. But we visit quite often.
And in my district, hardly ever.
I've gotten to know Aaron and Mike and Christie very, very well since I've been on the commission. Municipal commissioners have it.
No, District 10 sends our regards. We'll stay out of your hair.
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 5-0. And thank y'all for all your help. When all my questions always.
Next budget is for our planning department. This is Department 51720. Total budget of $58,355.
Move to approve.
This is a 0% increase.
Any
There's
questions?
no change.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
The next budget before you is for our building department. It is 51730 for a total budget of $40,765.
Move to approve.
And this is building codes, my apologies. There's building and then there's property building, so this is building codes.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Our next department is for the engineering department, Department 51740. Total budget of $47,997.
Move to approve.
There is a no change within the total budget. There is some modifications between line items. They have been transferred to absorb within the budget existing.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Excuse me, Department 55900, other public health sewage disposal management. This is a total budget of $89,702. So on the first page, you will notice there are some small increases. If you notice to the right, you'll see some justification. There was an increase of $500 in dues, 500 leases, 500 for some maintenance on vehicles, and some increase in gasoline. They had a new position that was approved last year, so a new employee this year. It was inadvertently, we did not adjust for any operational cost related to that position. It has been filled. We need to just add a little bit more so that we can cover that individual's gasoline and office supplies and operations, communication such. So it is a total of $3,265 to that budget.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Department 51750, which is codes compliance. Total budget of $65,381.
Move to approve.
There is a 0% change. There is no adjustments throughout the budget.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All that in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Our next budget this evening is for our IT department. So I will go a little bit slower on this one as I may need some assistance on a few items. However, the total budget this year, proposed budget is $5,583,529.
Move to approve.
Our total salaries increased a total of $134,596. Obviously, that's a good portion of that increase. Total increase is $601,971. We had some increases. If you will look on page 2, our communication line has gone up $34,225. We have a new item of $10,000 for some additional T-Mobile service for disaster response. And then we also had a few existing contracts that have gone up on some prices, including Comcast for public access, as well as United Connection for emergency facilities that has gone up slightly as well. That makes up that $34,000 increase. On page 3, everything is 0% change. On page 4, we do have 2 new items. There is a new item in the amount of $310,000, and that is for some cybersecurity software. And then we have additional $1,500, obviously just a small increase there for some badging, some additional security on that side. On page 5, The Veridec, the security cameras have gone up about $10,000 from last year. It's not a new program or a new software. It is just an increase. The total license amount, those are our big numbers, is the 310 additional for cybersecurity. The total increase to the license number, $321,900. Do you have any, I'll pause if there's any additional questions for.
A question, it's probably for Sean. I understand licenses and costs of licenses. I was just curious, is there ever conversations like with the school, do they run their own IT? Is there a possibility of leveraging licenses across?
They get a different price based on the EDU model, and they have grants, and some of those grants require them to maintain autonomy from the rest of the county.
Okay, so even if you said no to the grants, it'd probably be better for them to keep it separate?
It would.
Okay.
Are there any grants for us?
I did
Got one today.
I got one today.
Congratulations.
I know cybersecurity is like super important right now too, and there's like, it's almost becoming like a national defense.
It's a big deal. There's always something happening in that world. It's a nonstop fight.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
That is correct.
Yeah. So do we see possibly, with new administration, maybe more help from a national defense level?
I don't really know. It depends on where they go with the funding. So some of the funding, I sit on the state cyber committee, and some of the future funding has stopped right now. I'm hoping that'll pick back up.
I just want to make a comment. I know these numbers seem big, but when it comes to cybersecurity, there's a lot of intrusions that happen that we in the public don't even know about. But I've been privy to, and you either pay on the front end or you pay on the back end, and it's a lot more on the back end if you get hit by ransomware, one of those situations. So this is not even as expensive as I thought it would. It's it's confusing because it's not everybody understands how this works, but get hit and they lock it down, it can shut operations down for months to try to recreate it. I appreciate the diligence on making sure we have what we need to keep that from happening as much as possible.
Additional increases, you will see a few changes on page 7. There's a minor increase for service vehicles, just maintenance, regular maintenance. There's also an increase of $105,000 for other contracted services. Uniforms go slightly down. And in-service staff development, because of the new hire last year, has gone just a small amount up there just for training purposes. So of that total increase to the budget of $601,971, those large items are the salaries, your increase in your license, communication, and contracted services. The difference.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just a comment, since Commissioner O'Neill was giving praises out last year about this time when our insurance was coming up, and a big portion of it, our carrier was insisting on some very significant deductibles in the area of cybersecurity. Now, we do cybersecurity for the schools. I mean, our insurance policy covers them, covers all of our activities that we do. But because of his efforts and involvement with rolling the sleeve, we were able to buy back by his efforts through IT, through our insurance carrier. And so that's the kind of expertise that he's bringing to the market, because it was a significant, for you that are in property and casualty insurance and others, it was a significant amount of deductible, or what we call, you share in the loss, and we were able to remove that. So thank you, Sean, for doing that.
Great point.
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Anybody against, passes 5-0.
Our next department is for our county buildings, department number 51800. Total budget, $5,392,865.
Move to approve.
Okay. The total increase this year to the budget is a total of $191,739. 189, a little over 189,000 of that is salaries. The only other increase is to gasoline in the amount of $2,000. There are no other changes throughout the budget other than salaries and gasoline. Everything else has been absorbed within existing lines.
Any questions?
Just a quick question for Kevin.
Just curious.
How big is your staff? How many?
63 total is my staff, but that includes part-time and full-time. Part-time custodians are probably my largest part-time individuals, and some security, and then I have some full-time security, and then my technicians and custodians.
Okay. They're significant.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against, passes 5-0.
Next budget to present will be for our WCTV, Department 51810. Total budget proposed of $347,369,000.
Move to approve.
The increase to the budget is $37,779,000. This is completely for salaries, salary increase, no other adjustment throughout the operations.
Hiding behind the podium.
TV, WCTV.
Has anybody got any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against, passes 4-0. The mayor.
Our next budget will be for our archives, Department 51910.
Move to.
Total
You haven't
budget,
said
sorry. Of $586,588.
Move to approve.
There has been, you can see on page 1 and 2, there is some transfers in between line items. Everything has been absorbed within those line items for operations, except for $486. Other than that, the increase to this budget is for salaries in the amount of $38,420. So the only amount he was not able to transfer in between lines was $486. New increase.
Does anyone have any questions? Megan and I made a visit there. You were with us, weren't you?
I didn't get to
You
go.
missed it. Very nice. Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against, passes 4-0.
The next budget is for the Finance Department, Department 52100. Total budget of $1,786,500.
Move to approve.
The total increase of $188,735 is made up of an additional $105,620 due to salaries and the salary adjustment, The only other difference is if you look on page 2, again, under license, our regular accounting software covers accounting, asset management has been a small increase of $3,709. The new item there you will see for $79,600. That is the new annual license for our new timekeeping system. We have actually started testing. We were doing our parallel with a few of our major departments starting Monday. So we're in the process of testing. So we will have this annual cost to increase. That is the only adjustment to my budget at this time.
Your time, how does the time system work? Is it like a thumbprint or?
We have a little of both. We have several of our larger departments are doing the biometrics, so it would be a fingerprint. And then the rest of us will be using our badge, so it is a badge scanning system.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Passes 5-0.
Our next budget this evening is for other finance. This is Department 52900 for a total of $722,000. In this department, we track supplies for countywide. As you can see, that duplicating supplies, that is copier, printer paper for all county departments. The increase is due to a $200,000 increase in the data processing equipment. We have not increased this line since fiscal year 2016-17. We are asking if we could increase this by $200,000. We are expecting a lot of replacements of laptops. Everything is coming due, unfortunately, about the same time because of the expected increase in price, as well as just the aging of some of our laptops and computer systems. You can see we have, this current year, we have included a budget of $400,000, and we will spend probably down to $1 or $2 of that this year. So we are really trying to get that, the new equipment turnover. So this is for the entire county. That will be an additional $200,000 in this budget.
Does anyone have any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Our next department this evening is department number 56700 for Parks and Recreation. It's not working. Total proposed budget of $22,430,822.
Move to approve.
Second.
This is an increase over the current year's budget of $1,871,128. Of that total, the additions to salaries due to the salary study and the 4% increase is $962,248. You will look at page 2. There you can see there are some additional increases there. The current fiscal year, we only budgeted for Maryland Farms to be open for 6 months. So it looks like we're going to have Maryland Farms open for a full probably 12 months. So that's why you will see the lines for communication, contracts with private agencies, and several others, including those on page 3. You will see a reference to the Maryland Farms facility. We're going to go ahead and budget for a full 12 month because that's what we are anticipating. And of course, those will be, any additional costs will be offset by additional revenue as well. There's also an increase on page 3 of $20,000. This is for increase in maintenance, repair, and services for vehicle. So there's $20,000 there. That is a total of 68 vehicles they maintain, and that's just additional cost into the upkeep of those. There is a slight change between the next couple of lines. Those have been absorbed by just transferring funds in between the line items. Again, on page 4, you will see a reference, disposal fees and other contracted services. There are some additional amounts there. $31,000 for other contracted services. Again, those are related to additional costs through the Maryland Farms. On page 5, there is a 131% increase there. That is due to $235,000. This is a new item. This is for other contracted services for instruction of classes and programs for independent contractors. Obviously, as our classes and programs expand, so do the cost in order for us to pay for those contracted services. This again will be offset by the revenue that comes in for those line items. This line item, the other contracted services, you can see in that second column, current original budget is $178,200, and our revised is $468,200. That is because, if you'll recall, we have already come to you for resolutions increasing this line item. So each year, for the last several years, we have increased several line items, and we come to you with a separate individual resolution, taking that money from revenues. At this point, we are trying to kind of, for lack of a better word, bake those in. So instead of coming to you with a resolution every month to increase that number, we're going to go ahead and put that in and offset the revenue and expense and reflect that here in this line. That's why the additional, it was line item 539901. Other contracted services for instruction. There is a small increase again for custodial supplies. Electricity, you will see on that same page, page 5, an increase of $195,000. Again, we are anticipating with the additional facilities online and including the Maryland Farms, there will be additional cost due to electricity. On page 6, we have increased our natural gas line, office supplies, again, just for estimation of new facilities that are online, including the Maryland Farms for 12 months. And then a small increase to our sand, that is for our volleyball, so that we can have opened up the Bethesda Sports Complex. On page 7, we are proposing an increase of $21,000 to our uniforms. Again, increase programs, increase participation, and then again, we increase what we need to pay for those uniforms. However, that will be offset by participation fees. Chemical for pools, just an increase of $60,000. The cost is just going up, and we have to maintain the pools throughout the county. On page 8, we've added additional funds again in the refunds line. This is a line item that we have to come to you for the last 3 years to do a resolution because we have not historically enough in the budget to cover those fees. So we were just trying to make sure that we kind of offset those accordingly to actual cost, rather than come to you with multiple resolutions. The surcharge number has gone up. We are required to pay a surcharge, just as you incur anytime you use a credit card fee. There's always that additional charge that the credit company passes on. We do try to absorb those fees, but they're not always dollar for dollar. So there is an addition. As patrons want to use that more, there's very little cash coming through anymore. There is an increase in line item 559900 for other charges. This is additional programs and events. And other charges for line item 559902, increase of 18,000. This is for the acquisition to add for the College Grove senior citizens. That has gone online since this past fiscal year. So total increase, as I said, was 1,871,128. Half of that, a little over half of that is salaries, and the other half is additional programs that we have offered and the cost that corresponds with those.
Does anyone have any questions?
Just wanted to, 'cause I know a lot of these were talking about the offsetting the revenue. Do we have an idea of what is the Maryland Farms, is it paying for itself?
I was gonna say,
Oh, there's Gordon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. To answer your question specifically, Maryland Farms is paying for itself. We've probably been in the black for a few months, and we'll continue to add to that for the rest of this fiscal year.
Do you have an idea that you have for this year, like what your revenue looks like overall?
No, but I can get it to you, and probably have it to you by this time tomorrow.
I was just interested because I know you've been kind of tracking pretty good, like you're more and more kind of covering yourself. So I was
Yeah.
wondering to see if you were going to see an increase this year and if there was possibly any proposals to do additional festivals with the council park or.
Well, we're actually, with Maryland Farms, we're actually gonna have a full year under our belt, so we will make more money than we did last year, because if you remember, last year we were closed for almost 2 months because of freeze and water damage. As far as additional revenues, we're tracking to be ahead of last year's pace. We're already ahead over $1 million, and that's without even being into the festival season, which is the month of May. Now, obviously, we have to temper our expectations because Mother Nature could throw us a curveball, but if everything stays the same, you know, we should finish the year probably 1.5 million to $2 million ahead of last year's pace.
Yeah, the last question I had, and that's awesome, sounds like good news there, is just, have you considered any increase in membership fees or, you know, rental fees or any of that for just the rec centers?
So we have raised fees across the board for everything other than the monthly membership fees. So yes, we are looking at that. We'll analyze that again going into, you know, the next fiscal year, because we feel like the way we're tracking right now and our trajectory with revenues will allow us to increase the revenues without making across the board increases. So we're trying to phase it in so it doesn't look like we're just trying to do everything in the same year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got a question. What's the status of the Bethesda Rec Center building?
So we're working hard to try to get to a good number. Obviously, when you deal with construction these days with all of the ups and downs with economy and projected costs of things, we are not in a position yet to really take it out to bid so we can lock people in. Saying all of that, we feel like within the next few weeks, we should be getting some information back from the design architectural firm and the general contractor to lock us in. We've had to reduce the footprint of this building significantly. And so we're working within the dollar amounts that we already have been approved. I promise you, we will not come back for additional dollars. And we will get the best bang for the buck that we can. And but I can't specifically answer that question with a solid answer, but we are getting close. I hope that we are able to break ground this fall.
All right, thank you. Does
You're
anyone else have any questions for Parks and Rec? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Our next budget is for Department 56900. This is for our Ag Expo. Total budget of $1,586,585.
Move to approve.
Second.
The increase to this year's budget is $44,432. This is all salaries. There were zero change, no increase to operations.
Does anyone have any questions?
I have a quick question, I guess, just on that, because I know this is a revenue generating facility we have too. How do we do on the revenues for, because we have a lot of events there.
I do not have my actual, I know we are looking, let's see.
Get it to me later.
I do have it, we were projecting about the same. I did write Parks and Rec last fiscal year 24 was a little over $1 million. The ag, I will have that for you next week. Oh, ag fee is, we're averaging around 500,000.
Is that another opportunity to possibly bring in additional, I don't know, it's pretty booked out, isn't it? Is there another way to, I don't know, I'm not sure how that works with possibly looking at increasing the rental fees on that, if that's even a possibility.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Commissioner Smith, we are a revenue generating facility. I also want you to know our rental fees at this time, we're about as high as we can go right now with everybody around us that has this type of facility. One thing of importance I want you to realize is we give a lot of time away. And what I mean by that, the school system uses our facility. 4-H takes a tremendous amount of our time. And that means we do all the setup, we do all the tear down, we do all the cleanup. So we have the school system, the 4-H, and the 4-H has a ton of activities. That facility is used basically 5 to 6 nights a week, plus the events that we have. So when people go by there, and people have questioned me about this, and they don't see an activity going on during the daytime. Well, there is an activity, but a lot of times it starts after people go home. Then we have a lot of kids in there at night. So I don't feel like right now we need to increase, because I feel like we're probably at the upper end of that right now. But I just want you to realize we do give a lot of time away out there. Thank you.
I might point out that this will be the last budget time for Kenny. He is retiring.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you can catch him fishing somewhere in Alabama.
Somewhere tomorrow on Joe Wheeler Lake.
All right, Kenny.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That's goodbye, Kenny. What
Thank
about
you.
this overtime? Can we reduce this overtime any?
She had to get one more in there on you.
Madam
Or
Chairman.
have this thing about overtime?
We are very careful on overtime, because I'll tell you why. 25 years ago, when I met with Mayor Anderson, overtime was a bad word. And we have lived by that through the years. There are certain activities we have at the Ag Park, and one of them is the Franklin Rodeo that you're well aware of. We have to work overtime. Another one, that's right, Commissioner Guffey, you know. And the other one is the Williamson County Fair. Takes a lot of time. Those are the two activities during the year that will take some overtime. The rest of the time, we try and keep it to 40 hours.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Enjoy your fishing.
I will, thank you.
You gonna rodeo with us one more time?
I will.
You're missing the fair, though.
I am.
You could come and volunteer for no charge.
I have had 20 years of the Williamson County Fair and 20 years of the Franklin Rodeo. I think it's time for somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any more questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0.
Our final budget for this evening is for our Veteran Services. This is Department number 58300. Total budget of $56,137.
Move to approve.
Total increase to this budget is $2,297. These are just small increases throughout the budget. As you can see, there's only 5 or 6 lines in the department. These are just small increases due to expanding and the outreach of the program to our community.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just a comment, Ben has been in the position a little over a couple of years, and of all of the people that have served before him under my time, I get more attaboys of how he is working out in the community, going to veterans meetings, people's homes, other spots. And he doesn't always hear that because he doesn't come to a lot of our meetings. But I want to personally thank him for his hard work and appreciate what he's done. And he heads up our Memorial Day services. And I would encourage you to come down and see the hard work he puts in on that, but specifically to our veterans. Lots of veterans, and particularly their spouses, are always sending in thank yous for his help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we vote on that?
No.
Okay. Anyone got any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 5-0. You can leave now. We don't want any more time racked up.
Motion to adjourn.
That's the one meeting my meter's not running.